All righty, here we are at the Crystal Clear Point Studios, and I want to make a note here. We said we'd start at 2:30, and we started at 2:28. Do I
Dun,
rock?
dun,
Do I roll?
dun.
So this is Deborah Colleen Rose, and we have Dr. Matthew Pierce, and we have Luann Morris. I couldn't think of a good name for you, a good title.
Herbalist du jour? I don't.
Extraordinaire, herbalist extraordinaire.
Herbalist extraordinaire. That sounds
I
good.
was going to say the thorn in my side, but that's already
Ah,
taken up by Scott. So I was like, no, I can't give her that. Scott has that one. So my posse, my comrades, my compadres.
I actually want to give a shout out to Luann because she gave me a recipe for the pain bark, and I recently got the new brace, and so I've been walking around on that, and it kind of made my ankle kind of sore. But I whipped up a batch of the recipe that you gave me, and it's amazing.
Now
It's
that's the one that you apply with a compress, right?
Yep,
Okay.
yep. It's
She's the
amazing.
witch du jour. She's the witch du jour. She's out there with Run, Eye of Newt, Toad of Frog, whatever it is.
Toad frog.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay. I'm taking
Toe
your
of
witch
frog.
license away.
Toe of frog. Toe. Toe. Toe.
Well,
Toe.
Luann, it works really well. So thank you very much for that. I really
Good. And
appreciate
did
it.
you like put a heating pad on top of it, or what did you do?
Believe it or not, I wrapped it with some Ace bandages, like to keep it there. And then I applied like warm heat, but I have a hot water bottle,
Oh,
so
yeah.
I use the hot water bottle to just kind of like form to it.
Yep.
I don't like put a heating pad because it doesn't seem to conform all the way. So I have a hot water bottle and it just sat right
And
there.
that's actually what they recommended to begin with, was hot
Oh,
water.
okay.
Why
Not
do they
many,
call them ace bandages?
because they're
Not on top of
stretchy.
expenses. Oh
Why,
well,
why,
I mean,
why ace? Why not just wrap bandages or brown bandages? Because most of them are brown or tan. Why
um,
ace?
I had ace bandages from my surgeries, so I mean, I literally have probably enough to cover like 3 bodies
I
in ace
understand, but
bandages.
why do they call them ace bandages? Where does the word ace come in the
Oh,
regards
good
to?
Lord. It was probably a manufacturer.
It was, yeah.
Well, see, that was the answer. That's all
It's
I
actually
wanted to
from an
know.
athletic company, so it's like Athletic Corporation of I cannot remember. I'll have to look it up, but I mean, yeah, it's from an athletic company.
So
It's
ace actually stands for some initials.
Correct.
Okay. I just
it's
want to know.
like we call an tissue clinics.
Hmm.
No, Kleenex. You're in the South. It's Kleenex. Kleenex. Damn.
Yes, ma'am, I know I'm in the South. Don't get confused.
I'd like a tissue, but I want the Kleenex brand.
Kleenex,
Thank
the
you.
Kleenex kind.
It's getting close to the holidays. I always get rowdy around the holidays. Now the
Well, and
question,
that's the other thing we need to discuss. We need to tell everybody Merry Christmas and Happy New Year because
Right.
yeah, we won't be
A,
back to the first week of January
there you go.
unless I get on here by myself and do something wild and crazy. So now the question you should be asking is, how can you tell when Deborah's wild and crazy? What's different?
Nothing.
Nothing. Nothing. She can say nothing, but she can says Kleenex.
Kleenex.
Clinics.
Clinics. Like
Kleenex.
clinic. All right. So what are we talking about today, other than being goofy?
Well, okay, so I wanted you said before the podcast that that Canva was a bad word to me, and I just want to clarify something. Canva is not a bad word. I think it's a great tool to use for making graphics and doing for stuff online. I use Adobe Express myself. That's just me. But I think that kind of goes right into the topic of what we were talking about today is AI and AI taking over, the web and AI taking over content generation and AI taking over writing books and all this other stuff. So I think it's a
AI
great
needs to
tool for
take
what it
over my
works.
social media to make those little doohickey things for me because Luann is great on Canva. I get on there and go, now what? Now, Animoto, I can get on there and I can make videos all day long with Animoto. Animoto and I are like this. We're soul sisters. You get me on Canva and I'm like, where the hell am I? Where is Toto and where is the Cowardly Lion? Because I am not in Kansas.
Well, they're great tools for what they're used for, okay? But I mean, and I guess that I come from a different background that, I'm trained professionally as a graphic designer. I'm trained professionally in public relations and, media writing and all this other stuff. And with the advent of AI coming in, it's like everybody thinks that they can do that job. That they all of a sudden become an expert, blog writer, or they can become an author overnight, or that they're now an illustrator because they can type in a prompt that will spit out like, 4 pieces of art, so to speak. And I'm sorry, I don't feel that that's the case. I think that you have to have some natural talent inside of all of those things in order to actually be good at it.
Do they really think that they're being talented, or are they like me, like, oh, it's just getting the job done? Thank God I can do that much. Because I don't think I'm making an Oscar winning video when I do my little videos and stuff. And of course, I had one that I used for this podcast for We Met You, Matthew, and then you went in there and you did something really great. I had something that did the job. And then you went in there and did a video to introduce us. It's really great. So, but some of us are just happy to get by, and I don't think I'm talented. I think I'm just resourceful, which is not the same
Well,
thing.
you have people out there that are resourceful, but then you also have people out there that, you know, I don't know if they want to hide behind the tool,
Mm.
and that will make them look better. I don't know. It's just, to me, it's like, no. I mean, I can go into like a whole thing about, branding is not, like pretty fonts and pretty colors and things like that. Branding is who you are. We had conversations about Miles of Smiles, the logo, and at one time you had 3 of them out there,
I
and you
didn't
didn't
know
even
that.
realize that you had 3 logos
No,
out there.
they all look the
So
same to me.
yeah, and those are the things that I noticed that, I mean, that a lot of people don't. So I can pick up on, if something's been AI created probably 90% of the time. But
Well, let
I
me
don't
just
know. I
throw
mean, and
this out real quick. I'm going to do this 3 times in the podcast. I'm just going to warn you. I am the communications director of Texacom, a networking group here locally, and I need someone to design me little memes once a quarter or once a month to advertise on our website. Because I just told you, I don't know how to do Canva and I don't want to learn. So just putting that out there, looking for volunteers, looking for volunteers. But
there's
you
someone
have to
out there,
come.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm
you
sure.
have to come join
But
us. So go ahead.
well, what do you think AI is doing right now? I mean, I mean, you
I don't
hear about
know,
it. What do you
actually.
think it's doing?
I used a program called Write Cream, WRITE Cream.
Cream, like in cream milk.
Yes, I just picked it because I wanted to do descriptions of my products. And so I did descriptions of my products on AI, and they give you like 3 or 4 things to choose from. And then I went on there, but you got to read it, because I started reading it and I thought, no, that's not quite right. And so you have to go in and change it for you and for what you're doing, because, it was like, I don't know how to, it gave some descriptions of some of the things I was doing, or some of the herbs, and I thought that's not quite right. So I had to go in and read every word and delete some things and add some things. So it was a great place to start. But really, if you just copy and paste, you're putting yourself in deep water, probably.
Well,
Well, I
especially, I mean,
did
if
that
you're
with
like
the
doing
AI.
herbology and things like that, I mean, if something that you need to have knowledge about, and it's not the correct, verbiage, to describe the product, that could definitely get you in some hot water.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But like I've been using the AI summary on Zoom for our
Mhm.
podcast. And I didn't really read it the first time we did it because Deborah doesn't like paying attention to details when she's in a hurry. And Matthew calls me and goes, "What did you do? Where did you get this shit?"
It's like, where'd this come from?
Because Dr. Pierce is very technical and very detail oriented. And I'm like, well, it came off the summary function. And he goes, well, it's wrong. Fix it.
I did not say that. I said I
Well,
said there's some pieces in there that the information is not quite right.
And
how's
that's
that
when
different than what I just said? How is that any different?
I didn't
it,
say fix it.
it is.
No, I
It's a
said
great
fix
way
it to
of-
you.
It's a great way, I think, to get started.
Yeah.
But you can't just willy-nilly paste it onto your website and expect it to be correct if you don't read it and make sure it
Right.
is correct.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, if you can't trust AI, who can you trust? That's
You can't trust it.
You can't. You really can't.
exactly. So,
Well, okay, so I have friends that are teachers, okay, and so with the advent of AI, like people doing book reports, and things like that, that's like a thing of the past. I mean, I used to get away with in college and like, well, actually in high school, the Cliff Notes, versions of like books and things like that. Okay. And that was my shortcut. Okay. Now kids are like, they don't like pick up the book. They don't know who wrote it. They'll type it into Chat GPT and say, I need a 500-word summary of, The Catcher in the Rye, blah, 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 written in a funny, humorous tone. And it spits something out. Okay.
yeah, but they have
Um,
programs to double check on that, at least on college level, where they
they
can
do.
just do that. So
They
I
do.
don't
I
know
mean,
how many people
but
use
how many
that.
people are writing at college level? Okay, it's unfortunate, but I mean, literally, I mean, if you do studies inside of like what's on the web, it's at the 6th grade level. You were to write at a 6th grade level.
I have to-
No, that can't be right.
Most of the students where I went, the community college level, that's freshman, sophomore, they do not, as a general rule, write beyond 10th grade level.
Mhm.
No, that can't be right. Are you kidding?
I'm sorry, it is. The books they choose to teach these children are not above the 10th grade level because most of them can't understand it.
Oh my gosh. And I heard somewhere, I'm not making this up. I just don't remember where I saw it because I read things everywhere, that like in Japan, their 6th grade students are on a college level
Yes.
with their math and science. So what the hell is wrong with this country?
I don't know because my grandson is in 6th grade and he's in all AP classes, which means probably a lot of his things are on the 7th grade level.
Mm.
But then you have those children that just, I don't know if it's because they don't care, they hate school, they hate their teachers, they're trying to teach them. I don't know, but most of them just have no drive.
Well, my grandkids complain about being bored because they're not learning enough fast enough. And I see that with a lot of kids that they're bored because they're doing so much repetitive, stupid shit, really.
But I
Yeah.
think that happens because they're trying to teach the middle of the class. The ones that can't get to the middle, that are on the lower half, they have to get tutoring. And so those that are between the middle and the top are bored stiff.
Well, and
I'm
I think that
frustrated.
actually just that all lends to the problem because those kids are more apt to use AI to cheat or to get ahead and not actually like learn the skills that they need to learn in order to like do the things that they need to do. Okay. I mean, I'll go out on a limb here because I think that critical thinking went out the window when they took home ec out of school.
There is no critical thinking.
There is no critical thinking. I mean, I had to literally, I mean, one of the things that we did for home ec, and I'm dating myself. I know I'm dating myself, but I mean, they said, here, you have $75 that you have to
Mm.
spend for groceries and you have to feed a family of 3. Okay.
How are you going to do it?
How are you going to do it? Okay. I mean, and literally there was a grocery store and everything else like that. You know, the first time I did it, I got my food and everything else like that. And my teacher looked at me and goes, "Oh, okay, well, I guess you're not going to the bathroom for a week." And I'm like, What? And I was like, "There's toilet paper over there, so what are you using?"
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
That's a
and
good
so
point.
it's like, you know, you don't think of that. You don't think of that. And so my problem with the way AI turns out is what goes in is what you get out. You know, so if you're not thinking about the toilet paper, you're not getting what you need.
Well, one of the things that cracks me up is now at restaurants. I don't know if you've thought about this. You know, used to you get a little piece of paper, and you still do that at a lot of places, and it has the total, and it says, you know, percentage for tip, you know, and you put in how much you want to put for the tip. Well, now with the quick pays where, you know, you tap it and all this stuff, they now have the tips listed. 10% is this, 15% is this, 20% is this, or you can customize it because we're too damn stupid to figure out percentages anymore. You
Yep.
know?
Listen, my junior high and high school English teachers, I dreaded going to that class because they pounded it into us. We dissected sentences. We
Yeah.
learned what adjectives and verbs and the proper ways to do a subject and how to write a paragraph. This happened when I went to college too.
Oh,
How do
Mr.
you write?
Cotta, Mr. Cotta. So this brings up a really good point. Okay, so I'm not trying to be uncooperative and be insensitive, but one of the problems I have with the pronoun issue is when they use they and them. That is so wrong in the sentence structure.
Yes,
Because
it
they
is.
and them is a group, and if someone is using they and them as a personal pronoun, it just reads all wrong because you have to change the verb, and it's not the proper verb for a group, but it doesn't sound right because for 60 years I've heard they and them as a group in a sentence structure. I don't think people can appreciate how discombobulating that can be.
It can
It's
be
very
very.
discombobulating, you
You
know?
know what? When I wrote my article for the book I was in, Inspirations, they sent it back to me and said, "There's only one space after a sentence, after the period." And I said, "Excuse me?
What?
When you write a paragraph now, there's only one space between the period and the next sentence,
Well, you
not
don't even use periods on social media on the last sentence. Now, really, who came up with that rule? So you do your sentence and you do a period, you do one space, but when it's the end of the last sentence of your thought, you don't put a period there because it takes up time to put the period there. Now, who comes up with those stupid rules?
American College Standard.
Oh my God, you know?
but that's
So
texting, right?
texting, social media, anything that you do on the phone. And I'm like, you know what? You're just fucking lucky that you can even understand what I say because with autocorrect and my typing with thumbs, it's amazing that it's even legible. Okay, get over it.
Well, okay, so going back to AI, you know, most of the kids do not text in full sentences. Okay,
No.
they use predictive text on their phones to create their messages. And so literally they will type one word, look at the prompts, pick the word that needs to be quote unquote what they think, okay, and we'll try to formulate their sentences from there. Okay. I mean, I have friends that, I mean, I'm like, I'm not texting you back unless you use some punctuation here because I have no clue what you're trying to say.
Yeah, you're a real nudge on this stuff. You're very technical.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
it does get confusing though. If you're getting a
It
text from
does.
someone you're not used to texting with and
It
they don't
does.
use any punctuation, you're like, what did they say?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
was that a complete thought or did you run three together?
Yeah. Okay, so the AI thing, I did honestly, okay, I'm gonna open the subject up and then let y'all talk because I didn't really follow this. But with the writer's strike, AI was a big issue during the strike about using AI to take over the writers' jobs and things like that. So where's the line on that? And when do we recognize the difference in a story and true talented storytelling? You know what I'm saying? There's facts and then there's details and then there's actually using language to paint a painting, a portrait, a picture.
And I mean, unfortunately, AI, I mean, it has come pretty far, okay, but it can only mimic. It cannot take and do like creative thought. Okay. So as far as like creating content or creating like a dramatic show or whatever else like that, it will take and it will pull from like kind of the input that you give it. Okay. AI just, I mean, you can sit down and say, write me a story. Okay. AI is going to be like, what do you mean? You
Yeah.
know? And I'm sure that
You
there's
give
probably
it
something out
specifics.
there that, you know, you can say that to and it will do it. But it's not going to be like focused on like the last 3 episodes of the show. It's not going to be like, based on like what you want it to be like at the current moment in the current events. You know, it might not have the voice or the sound or whatever like that. So there's no humanness. There's no, feeling.
Well, you know what? I will know that AI has reached a juncture or a crossroad of excellence when it can do sexual innuendos as good as I do. Because I can make anything dirty,
Yeah.
anything. But I've not
Oh,
seen AI be able to do something like that. They can't take words and use the double meanings to them, the nuances. Does that make sense?
No, it makes total sense.
because
In fact, I'm sorry, go ahead, Luann.
they're really only adding to what the description you put in at the beginning.
Mm.
That's it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I had a friend that got so angry with with her phone the other day. She was using Chat GPT, and apparently, I guess her significant other was texting and wanted to sexting with her, and she asked it to come up with some quotes like that were sexual innuendos that they could send back, you know. And well, yeah, ChatGPT did not do so well.
No,
In fact, it actually told her that that it just didn't accept it because, I'm not that kind of bot,
I'm not a pervert. You can't make me do that.
you
I
know.
don't get that kind of
But
pot.
the thing is, I mean, they've gotten to the point where they can realize that if someone's asking for something in that emotional nature or that
Mhm.
innuendo or whatever like that, that it has to come up with a response that's like, oh, I don't do that. So, can you write a smut novel inside of ChatGPT? You could probably get pretty close, okay? But everybody's clothes stays on.
Let me tell you, I was uh, talking into my phone instead of texting because I was driving. And I said, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And it said F asterisk asterisk asterisk. So my text was censoring me.
Mhm.
Oh my God. Oh my God. So this is a long way from where I was in high school. In high school, I used to make extra money by writing papers for other kids.
Yeah.
And so if they wanted an A, it was $25. And if they wanted a B, it was 20. If they wanted a C, it was 15. And I wouldn't do anything under a C because that was insulting to me because I was not a C student. So, so I mean, you know, I don't know that I think AI is indicative of the fact that we are now a fast and furious society. We want things that are quick, we want them easy, and we just kind of scrape the surface.
Mhm.
Just scrape the surface. But it was funny to me. I eavesdrop on conversations. I like going out by myself so I can eavesdrop on conversations at restaurants and places. And I was listening to this two people talk, and this guy was talking about how he did his own website with the AI, blah blah blah. And he's like, I just put in the key words, and it's like it captured my soul. And I went, well, fuck, how shallow are you? you know?
Well, I mean,
Oh
I
my
was I
God.
was showing Luann. Luann, I mean, it was considering redoing her website, and I was showing her some of the AI tools to be using for like producing images for the website and so on and so forth. And I mean, Luann, you saw some of the prompts. I mean, it got pretty damn close.
Yeah, it did.
I do not want my
So,
doctor looking at a book written by AI on how to do my surgery. That much I know.
you know, talking about like text and content and things like that. That's one thing, but you're never going to convince me that an AI is going to get to the point where like it can write like Edgar Allan Poe and
Oh
come
my
up
God.
with those subtle nuances of how he thought, and how he put those things together. You're
But
not going to be able to tell me that.
can you ask it to write in, what is that, iambic
Iambic
pentameter?
pentameter? Yeah, you can ask it.
I want to ask AI if they can tell me why a yodeling pickle is funny.
You can ask, but they're not going to be funny.
I want to know what an AI would say to that. Why is my yodeling pickle funny?
One moment, please.
Yes, I thought one of y'all would pull that up for me
Yeah.
because I can't manage this screen and do other things on my computer at the same
So,
time.
acting as Deborah Pauline Rose,
Oh yeah, he's going to throw me under the
why
bus.
is a yodeling pickle humorous? If you don't know, come up with 5 different reasons why a yodeling
I think
pickle
AI has taken him over. He's talking
can
funny.
be funny.
Well, he's telling you what he's typing.
I know.
Right.
What did it say? What did it say? What did it say?
The concept of a yodeling pickle is humorous for a variety of reasons. Unexpected combination. The juxtaposition of a pickle, a common, mundane food item, with the act of yodeling, a unique and often dramatic form of singing associated to the alpine regions. It creates an absurd and unexpected combination. This clash of context is inherently amusing. Number 4, or number 2. Number 4, I looked up, it was just typing number 4. Number 2, anthropomorphic and incongruity. Giving a non-living object like a pickle human-like abilities such as singing is a classic form of humor based on anthropomorphism. This leads to a sense of incongruity, as it is amusing to imagine a pickle performing a complex human activity. All factual.
Personification.
Yeah. So surprise and novelty. A yodeling pickle is not something one encounters in everyday life. The sheer novelty and surprise of such an item can provoke laughter as it defies normal expectations. So 3 reasons that are just completely and totally plausible, based on fact. Visual humor. The mental image of a pickle yodeling is visually comical. The contrast in size, a small pickle producing grand, elaborate yodels, adds more visual to the humor. Sound humor. Yodeling itself can be funny. It can be a funny sound to many people, especially when it's coming from an unexpected source like a pickle.
They took
So
all the
which
fun
one did
out
you
of it.
use? Chat GPT?
Yep.
They left off the best one of all, though. This is going to make us X-rated if I say it, though. Do you want me to say it?
What, the innuendo of the pickle being a penis?
Well, no, not the innuendo. The fact that if you insert this like a penis and that noise comes out of your vagina, that's hilarious.
But see, that's funny. But unfortunately, AI is not going to pick that up. It took and literally took on all of the just sure, a pickle's funny.
AI has no sex. They are
It doesn't have any sass.
No, no,
It
right.
doesn't.
You're right.
It doesn't have any
and
sass.
what happened to saying this is funny because it's funny, and you don't have to analyze funny. You just laugh.
You just
You know, you just laugh.
But you asked for the reasons and it did give you that.
And it gave you
Maybe
that.
I need to keep this for myself.
No.
Well, I mean, does
la.
the question is though? No, I'm not going to ask that question. I was going to ask
Go
if
ahead,
it,
no,
if it,
ask it. Come
No.
on, ask it.
You're
Be bold.
X-rated
I mean, does
already.
it vibrate when it yodels, or
I don't know. I can't push the button because it's got plastic over it because you push the button. So I don't know. Batteries are included. So man, they are prepared. How often do you get a toy that needs batteries that
Wow.
the batteries are included? But it
Wow.
says do not swallow. Small parts can choke. But it doesn't
Okay,
look
so
that
back
big.
back to the AI. I mean, just reading from that list, it's just unoriginal. It's just unoriginal.
Well, it bored the hell out of me. I kind of
Exactly.
glazed out, you know.
I mean, I asked it why it could be humorous. It gave me, 5 facts of why it could be humorous. But and you could push it for, its father. I mean, hell, I could even say, give me 5 examples of a yodeling pickle. Give me five different pictures of a yodeling pickle.
I
It
would
might be
like
able
to
to come up
take
with
a
it.
Matt Rife comic routine and feed it into AI somehow and say, now tell me why he's funny. Because he says the most obscure, bizarre things when he's doing his crowd work. And some of it, people really get offended, but it's hilarious, I think, because it's just it's following a line of thought that is not normal,
Mhm.
and that's what I am curious about, how if AI can ever get to that point, because to me, if AI can ever get to that point, then we might be in trouble. We might be in trouble because a lot of people are talking, well, now we're looking at uh the Terminator theory coming into play, and now it's going to be AI against people and blah 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 and all this stuff.
Well, I don't think it's ever going to get to the point where we're going to have, well, it might get to the point where we have sentience. I mean, that, that we have things that are talking, like, and trying to figure things out. I mean, I've read many stories about AI and how the Vatican is actually taking and importing all of the old text, the old texts, and putting it into AI, and then it's asking it to prophesy or to bring up and
Oh
create,
shit.
yeah, and create, like, predict, November 9th, 2027. Okay,
But
according
that
to,
makes
like,
sense though. Think about it. But if history is based upon patterns, okay,
mhm,
and humans have patterns, it makes sense that you could load up historical as long as the
yep,
history is accurate. The question we run into is that how much of our history that is reported accurate?
exactly, exactly. I mean, but I mean,
A
we're
dude is
talking
playing in my
these. I
room.
mean, this algorithm, has come back and has said some very almost Nostradamus type phrases and things. It asked to, like, actually, I can't remember what it was asked to do, but it was something in recent, like within, like, a week, like what will happen in, like, a week. It came pretty close.
That's
It came pretty
interesting.
close.
Hey, speaking of the Vatican, did you see what they've decided to do? This will be something that interests you, I think. The Pope has now decreed that they can bless same-sex marriages as long as the blessing doesn't sound like a marriage.
No, okay.
In
Now,
other
what
words,
does
they're
that
not going
mean?
to perform the marriage ceremony in the church.
What does that mean?
Well, there's a certain marriage ceremony that you go through, and the church says, the Catholic Church says that it's one man and one woman.
But how do you bless a same-sex union that is being treated as a marriage and not make it sound like a marriage? Well, y'all go and sleep in the same bed and we hope you don't die. Well, I mean, what kind of blessing are you going to give them? I mean, that it not sound like a marriage. That's my point.
Well, honestly, I think the Catholic Church can come up with anything that they want to come up with. I mean, if they have a or if they have a day for blessing dogs, hey, why not?
The hell? What the
Seriously.
hell?
I mean, if they can make and they if they can make up a blessing, that is now a standard blessing inside of the Catholic Church for blessing a dog, then sure, why not come up with
Well, you're
something
not
that
kidding. They,
doesn't
they
sound
really
like
No,
a
do
he's
that.
wedding?
not.
You're
No,
not
he's
kidding.
not. There is a pet blessing day to bless your pets
Why do we feel like our pets need blessing is what I want to
because they
ask.
want to make sure they go to heaven. I don't know.
What?
But
What?
there was a necessity somewhere, as
Was there
human
really?
beings,
Was there a necessity, or was this just
absolutely. But
ridiculous
it's filled by the
atmosphere?
necessity of the person. I mean, I think that people, they get to that point of it's like, well, they're not taking care of me. So, I mean, society has to do something about it. And so I believe the Catholic Church did something about it. They said, okay, well, we'll go ahead and, we're not going to really agree with it, but we're going to give you a workaround.
Well, isn't that an integrity issue?
You think?
I'm
But
just putting it out there.
we should
I don't
never
mean to
turn away
criticize.
anyone that needs our, what did they say? We should never turn away anyone that needs our guidance. It's trying to reach out to God. We should not turn them away. That's why they came up with the blessing.
Okay, that's so fucking stupid. I'm sorry. It says in the Bible, God takes care of the birds of the air. Why would he do anything less for you? They're already blessed. Why do we need to repeat the redundant? Okay, I'm sorry. I mean, do we not apply biblical teachings anymore to anything that calls itself a Christian religion? Or do we just make this fucking shit up because this is what people need to hear? What are we doing these days?
The
I'm on a
Catholic
tangent.
Church is taking care of their people.
That's
No,
right.
they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. That's a lie. That's an absolute lie.
Okay,
I'm
so
sorry.
I'm going to say something. Okay, and this is you know me. Okay, I don't subscribe to the Catholic religion. I don't subscribe to the quote unquote Christian religion. Okay, but I can see that there's value and merit in like the what churches do. Okay, so saying it's a lie, I don't think it's a lie. I think that it's how we've been indoctrinated to view spirituality.
To
We're
someone
talking
who's Catholic, that might mean the world to them.
exactly.
Okay, that's great. It means the world to them. But did it strengthen their relationship with God? And did it do it through the teachings of what God intends for us to have in our relationship with Him? Now, I'm all about people feeling good. I know it doesn't sound like it, but I am. But there's a difference in doing things to make people feel good. And then there's the integrity issue of holding people accountable for the quality of relationship they have in their spirit world and in their physical world. And that is out of integrity. If it's out of integrity, then they're lying to their people. I'm sorry. That just, and I want them to be happy with their pets. I love my dogs. I absolutely love my dogs. I've loved all my dogs. I do dog rescues, but I don't need a friggin' blessing to know that God loves those animals as much as I do and more.
Well,
And
I don't need
why
a
aren't they
freaking
teaching them
blessing.
that?
I don't need a freaking blessing or a wedding or anything else to like actually like say that I love someone or that I'm committed to someone or that I have this relationship with someone. I don't need that. Okay. If I am doing anything ever again and like taking and having a partner, I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to have a traditional wedding. I'm not going to have a traditional. And the only people that are going to be coming to it are the people that appreciate who I am getting, like taking putting a relationship out there with. Okay.
Exactly. Exactly. So
So, but that's not about edification in front of God and making sure. Again, I think that's it's kind of nonsense. But the church is there for like that, I don't know, that assurance. People want the baptism, they want the wedding, they want the blessing of the pets, they want all of that because for some reason that does make them feel that they are living more holy or living more godly existences.
I'm thinking. I'm thinking.
We're going to be
Okay,
in trouble once you finish.
so I just watched this mini series. I think it's on Netflix or it's on one of the streaming things, and it's called Fellow Travelers. And I cried really hard during this mini series. And what it was two fictional characters. All the characters that the storyline was around were fictional, but it was about historical things. And it started out with McCarthyism. And what a lot of people don't know or don't talk about is that McCarthy was out against the communists, but he was also out against the homosexual community.
Right.
Okay. And so the two primary characters in this series are two gay men trying to live during the 50s, 60s, and 70s with all the shit going on. Okay. And so one man picked the route of getting married and having children because he wanted children, but he was content in his marriage, but he really loved this other man. And this other man that he loved him as well, but he had a lot of things about how to be and how not to be based upon his Catholic teachings,
Oh my
and
God.
and almost had gone into the priesthood. So there was all this ups and downs with their relationship, and they went years without seeing each other. But every time they got together, they just, you couldn't keep them apart when they were together. And it was just obvious that they truly loved one another. Okay. And I watched, one of them died with AIDS during the 80s and was commemorated in the quilt that they did in Washington back in the 80s. Y'all remember that? And it's just grown and grown and grown. And they hurt each other, they supported each other. I mean, just it was just a traumatic relationship at times, and other times it was joyful. And so I'm just sitting there, and my connection to what we're talking about is that how does a blessing but not recognizing a marriage make this situation any better? Any better? So it's like they're placating without actually standing up for anything of value. That's my objection. They don't come out and say, be in love and be happy and be of one flesh, be a union, and whatever's going on between you, we're not going to judge it because that's between you and God. And if people had said that, I mean, people were actually during McCarthyism were turning in other men as homosexuals, and even women were caught up in this at times to get them out of their jobs, to seek revenge. And then now, of course, they're now saying that McCarthy might have been homosexual, and Roy Cohn was homosexual, and J. Edgar Hoover, God knows what the hell he was doing in a dress. What was his role in life? We don't know, but we know he liked dresses. So to me, that is just another form of softcore hypocrisy.
But in the context of I'm Catholic and I'm homosexual, it is like you've almost been seen.
Well, I'm thinking
In that
back to the
context.
character in this show, and I'm thinking all that would have done is made it worse for him. I don't think it would have given him respite. I don't think it would have given him comfort, because he would not have been able to really live openly. And that's all they were asking for, was to live openly, openly and be recognized, and not be persecuted, not, and of course, the thing that really hammered it in was how badly people with HIV were treated in the 80s, where the hospitals would not let them in.
Right.
Would not let them in. And there was only one hospital for several years that even would treat HIV positive patients with dignity and with true care, and that was in San Francisco. We don't talk about this stuff anymore, and I see a resurgence of a lot of these attitudes coming about and leading us down these rabbit holes. I mean, look at what's happened with women's rights. And I keep telling my gay friends, you know what? They're doing it to women. Do you think you're immune? You've made huge strides. You can get married and all this other stuff, but it's no guaranteed you're going to get to keep it. No guarantee.
So
None.
do you think that if the women's rights had been entered into the Constitution, that it would have been different?
Yes, it would have to have been different. They couldn't have, the states could not have voted to take away abortion limits. I mean, abortion, rights, and birth control rights and things of that nature. And, the thing that just, God, it just gets my goat. Do you know that up until it was in the 70s, before women could even have credit in their own name, they were still chattel of their husbands. Okay. That's less than 50 years, people.
Yeah.
So we made these huge strides, and now all of a sudden we're yanked back into the 50s and 40s.
Well, this woman whose child is going to die as soon as it was born had to go to another state.
I know.
Even though the judge said she could have an abortion because
our governor overrode the decision. Now, where's the caring in that? Where's the comfort and joy in that?
Well, they had to preserve the life that was going to breathe for 24 hours.
Okay, you know, I'm just so fucking angry about this. Is why this reminds me of why I've said for years I love the concept of humanity, but I can't stand humans. Seriously, I need to get that tattooed on my forehead because I really do feel that way. Humanity is a beautiful gift, but where is it in day-to-day living? Where is it? All we can do is just do our little bitty pieces, our little bitty parts. But
I don't think people want to be human anymore. I don't think that they want to, you know, have to deal with being caring and compassionate and whatever else. I think that, you know, they would just much rather be, you know, left alone. I mean, there are some people that I'm sure that would disagree with that, but you know, we start now talking about AI. We start talking about why did AI come about?
because we're
You know,
lazy sons of bitches.
because we're lazy. Okay. I mean, really, how much does it take to be a human being and say, oh, that woman's suffering. She doesn't need to be suffering. But how my religious beliefs, you know, what should override that. And this is what she should do and what she should not do. Okay. I'm sorry that's where it becomes dehumanizing to me, you know?
When I worked for 5 OBGYNs, the first question out of their mouth during my interview was, can you participate in an abortion? Because they were OBGYNs. And I said, I need to return to that question later. Right now, let me think about it. Because they knew I was Catholic. So they asked me the question again, and I said, look, I know what my beliefs are, and I know that I would never, at this point in my life forward, have an abortion. And I had to qualify that because guess what? When I was a teenager, my parents took me to California for an abortion.
You've never told me that.
So, well, now you know. So now I had to qualify. No, it would not be for me. But I will defend someone else's right to do what they want to do.
Right, right. Just because it's not for you doesn't mean that you have the right to deny it of other people.
No.
You know? And that's what gets me. It you know, because I hate to sound so extreme, but I keep going back to how Hitler was able to control not just an entire country, but multiple countries with his thoughts and his ideas. And a lot of it was because, yeah, there were people that agreed with him, just like we have Trump, and there were people that agree with Trump. But then it got to steamroll and pick up speed because most people just sat back and did nothing because they did not want to be involved.
Right.
By not being involved and everybody being so focused on their little group's identity and needs, we have the Black community needs, we have the gay community needs, we have the women's community needs. What if we all just put it all together in one big fucking basket and said, we all need these rights? All of us. This is what it looks like. And it doesn't matter if you're gay or straight or female or white or black or red or whatever. We all get these same rights and we make sure it's enforced. By trying to placate, because it is placating a lot of times to get people to shut up in political arenas and to look like we're doing the decent thing, we have made so many little minuscule rules that they're impossible to enforce. It's one thing to have a law. Oh, you go to jail if you spit on the sidewalk. But if we arrested everybody that spit on the sidewalk, there's no jails left for the people that murder because all the spitters are in jail. So there's that practical side of what rules look like and how to enforce them. And we have spread ourselves out so damn thin that nothing's getting done. Nothing that really matters.
Well, that's why there's those people that say, well, if you're going to do certain things, depending on the severity, you just get a ticket.
Yeah, with pot now. People that
Yeah.
used to go to jail for 20 and 30 years, now you get a $300 ticket.
Yep.
What the fuck? How did we go from 30 years in jail to a $300 ticket? What shifted in a 25-year period that we now realize that that was an extreme? Really?
Because like you said, there's not enough room in the jails for the people who do the bad stuff.
But it sounded good in the political system. Just say no to drugs. The
Yeah, it
Reagans,
did
weren't
sound
they
good.
wonderful? Weren't they
Yes, it did.
wonderful? Oh my God, I am in a rage today. I am just in a
It-
rage.
People
It's all
just
going back to
going.
critical thinking. It's going back to critical thinking. It's like we're not thinking for ourselves anymore.
Mm-mm.
You know, how hard is it to like actually take yourself out of the situation and go, okay, is this a me issue, or is this a human issue?
Exactly. And it's not the AI we should worry about. With people getting so placated and so complacent in their thinking processes, it's not AI that's going to ruin us. It's dictators. We're
True.
opening ourselves up for anarchy and dictatorship in this country.
But
And
Deborah,
people
I
who
also
don't
have to
think for
point this
themselves.
out. I had to point out that what the AI only takes in the data that it's being fed. And so if
Mhm.
all these conversations that we're having that are negative or whatever else like that, it is taking and tainting the concept of humanity. Okay. And why I have a problem with, AI, and bringing it back in here is all of that data that we don't appreciate and we don't want. Okay. That's what's filtering into the AI systems. Okay.
But who's doing
Because
that?
so
Who controls the filtering system?
that's the thing. If it is popular and if it by data points, if it's out there, it's getting picked up, period. Where do you think
Well,
AI gets its information from?
I'm going to give you both an assignment over the holiday since we're taking 2 weeks off. And maybe this is what we'll come back to January when we come back. I watched an interesting movie the other night and I had to actually stop it and just process some of the things going along. It was made by a production company that's owned by the Obamas.
Hmm.
Michelle and Barack Obama. They are now in the movie making business. And
I
if I
did
had
not
known that,
know
I might not have watched this movie. I found it out after the fact because I was like, huh, that's interesting that they made this movie. And I found out after the fact because it's called Leave the World Behind.
Hmm.
And it's about this whole, and it's got Julia Roberts and Ethan Hawke and Kevin Bacon. So, big names are in it. And so I'm watching this thing, and basically it is about how the the United States was destroyed because we destroyed ourselves from within through paranoia and fear. And we wound up turning on ourselves and creating a civil war so that Russia or whoever was in charge, because they never told us who was in charge, started this internally for us. And we imploded. And it shows New York being blown up at the end. I'll just give you that. Okay. But there's a statement in there because it's talking about this guy had these really important clients and they'd have these meetings and supposedly they're making all these world decisions. And the premise is that the group is not making the decisions because nobody's in charge. If nobody's in charge, who's controlling who? That means we're only controlling ourselves and we can only affect what we reach out to and how we make our personal decisions. So again, it takes a big world view and brings it back into a personal view. It is hugely thought-provoking. I encourage everyone to watch it,
Well,
even though it was made by people I don't really like.
So the assignment was to watch it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's to watch it. It's
watch
to
and
watch.
discuss.
I will probably
Okay.
watch it again. I will probably watch it again and make myself go through all the periods and not stop it and just experience the whole thing.
Where
And
where
the
did you
ending is
find
a
it?
little bizarre. I think it's on Netflix. Just Google it and it'll tell you where you can watch it. Okay.
Okay.
And the ending is really intriguing. So huge metaphor, huge metaphor. So I would love to hear your thoughts on it. So
Well, we were talking about people making informed decisions, and I think part of that is that we have no common sense about our lives and what we need for each other. What was the word we used?
I don't know what word for what.
Okay.
Just kind of left. No, it's
You know what
being
else
human.
pisses me? You know
God,
what
it's just
pisses
being
me off
human.
though? is when people do sit-ins or marches and stuff. That's so ineffective. It makes you feel good personally, but what does it accomplish? What does it really accomplish? Other than the fact that people are talking about it for a day or two.
Yeah. It's awareness.
You
But
know,
you have to do,
I'm aware that everything's fucked up and we need to fix it.
but you
I'm
have to
aware.
keep doing it to keep the scenario of talk going.
Mhm.
You know, you have to
Well,
keep doing it.
I was at a party the other night working, and there was a professional lobbyist there, and he and I spent quite a bit of time talking. And the bottom line is that the only people that are really hiring lobbyists or nonprofits, and that's where a lot of their money goes, so that they can get laws passed for their specialty groups, and guns and pharmaceutical companies. Those are the only people really lobbying. That's where the changes come. Getting up there and banging on those doors and saying, you better fucking vote for this law or we're going to pull the plug on you. That's how things happen. And
Money and greed.
well, money at least, greed many times, yeah. You know, getting you reelected or getting you out of office. But look at how many people we have in our Congress and our Senate and our House that have been there 20, 30 years.
Right.
Okay. They know how to play the game. We need to get other people in
So
there playing
if you're
the game.
sick of them being there, don't vote for them again.
But people vote Republican or Democrat.
Okay.
They don't vote for the person, they vote the party. We are imploding on ourselves. We really,
Mhm.
really are.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can put a plug in it and stop it and redirect some of this energy. Otherwise, I'm just going to be righteously indignant till I die. And I vote libertarian.
I'm sorry, but we may have to be righteously indignant until the day we die.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
I
All
don't
right, somebody say something positive because I'm just pissed off.
something
dun dun
positive.
dun.
Let's
Christmas is
encourage
coming.
people to think for themselves.
Yes.
I have faith that, I mean, people can do that. I do. I mean, I have some very, very good friends that, I mean, that, you know, keep me on track. And it's because that sometimes I don't think, you know, like linearly, you know, I'm kind of get off path sometimes. And that's okay, you know, but I consider that's my humanness showing. Um, you know, so I honestly believe that it's just about being a human. Really, it's about being human and being able to see past all the political bullshit and all the emotional bullshit and everything else that's going on. You know, anything that we look at, if we ask, is this a human issue or is this just a doctrine issue? Or is this
Mhm.
just like something that was made up to make something else happen? You know? So,
No, I think that I think a lot of our problems would solve themselves if we looked at at an issue and then put a human face in that issue and then put our face into that human face. What would
yeah,
I do if I was going through this? How would I react if I was going through this? What would I need if I was going through this? And if you
And
could do that,
yeah,
you know,
instead of
I think a
saying this
lot
is
of
not my
things would get
problem.
corrected. You know, if you're homeless, what are you going to do? If you're a woman needing an abortion because of your circumstances, you can't handle it mentally, physically, whatever. You know,
mhm,
my big thing is that when I have gone in the past to churches that protest against abortions, if they do not offer homes and support for those women, I don't go back to that church. Put your money where your mouth is. If you don't want these women getting abortions, then you better have a system set up where you take them in, give them home, give them shelter, give them food until that baby's born, and you offer them an adoption process, and it doesn't cost them a cent. And if you don't do that, shut the fuck up, you know? And that's the
Well,
kind of humanity I'm looking for.
I do know Catholic Charities does do that.
yeah,
A lot of them do. A lot of them do. But a lot of churches don't.
That
That's
is
the whole
correct.
thing.
well, and see,
Mhm.
the thing is, I think again, it's not bringing it back to the humanness because, you know, and I know this is completely and totally fictitious, okay, you know, but what would happen if Ken Paxton actually got pregnant tomorrow? No, I'm
I'm gonna
serious.
tell you
I
right
have actually
now,
had I've actually had a dream about that. It was like that all of a sudden Ken Paxton and the state of Texas was like, "Oh, you're pregnant. Well, you can't get an abortion. You have to carry it to term." Like, really?
Yeah.
How that
Yeah.
would impact his life, you know?
Yes. I think that if men had to endure some of the things that women do, like this poor woman's, decision to have her child aborted because of her genetic problems that will cause her imminent death on birth.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or what
it's
if you
not like,
wake up tomorrow and your skin's black and everybody turns and runs and hides from you because they're afraid of you?
Mhm.
It's not hard to change your perspective if you're willing to think.
Well, I mean,
Which
the
brings it back
economic,
to AI.
you look at economics, okay? Okay. I heard a fact the other day that 85% of the people that are in the Senate or in Congress, if you change their name and put them out on the street with $1,000, they wouldn't survive.
No, because
They
they were
couldn't
born.
go and get an apartment. They couldn't
Mm-mm.
afford it. Okay. If all of a
Mm-mm.
sudden they lost their job and they lost all of what they have right now, okay, they would not be able to make it in society. Okay.
they don't
You
have
know,
the
until
skills that they need to
Mm-mm.
do that.
All right, my blood pressure's sky high. I can feel my heart just beating in my chest. I'm so mad.
Well, I
So
think all we can do is be kind, try to love those even those that are hard to love, and do the best that we can,
yeah,
and hope that we
that's all we
spread
can do
that
personally,
love to someone else.
and
well, I'm going
vote.
to tell you this right now.
Vote
If
for
you ever
some
hear me
person.
talking to someone and saying, "Oh, God bless you,"
Yeah, no.
you know that I
And
don't mean
vote for a person who will actually do something about the issues. I don't care if you voted Republican for 35 years. I don't give a shit. Look at what's put on the table. I don't care if you voted Democrat for 35 years. Look what's put on the table. What is their track record? What have they got? Like Biden. No, okay, I'm not even going there. I'm just so
Well,
pissed.
just let me say that a straight ticket no longer serves us.
it. No.
No. Quit voting like that and use your noggin for something besides a hat. So, all right, I'm gonna smile. Merry Christmas, everyone. Y'all
Merry
enjoy
Christmas.
your families, enjoy the season, and however you enjoy it. Happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, anything else out there, because I don't know all the holidays. I am not an expert. I just want y'all to enjoy being with people that love you and you love them and
That's right.
appreciate it.
That's
That's
what's
right.
important.
Exactly.
Well,
So
Luann and Deborah, I love you both. I love that we can get together and we can talk, and that even though that we come from different paths and different backgrounds, that it's not that we can't look past each other's and that we can just love each other anyway. I thank you two for being such great humans. You
Mm.
know, and like I always feel cared for. I always feel acknowledged. I always feel, built up at the end of our conversations. I've never gone away from a conversation online or outside of this, like where I felt like I was lacking in some way or shape or form. So
well, you're a good
thank
looking
you so
man and we
much.
appreciate you. We
Oh, well,
appreciate good
thank you.
looking men.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Unfortunately, your
I
poodle's
appreciate
barking
having
up
a
the wrong tree.
conversation with someone who uses their intelligence.
Well,
Well, it's nice to be able to have three people that can come together. We agree on a lot of things. We don't agree on some things, but we don't argue. We can accept the difference of opinion because listen to me, people. We look at their intentions
yes.
and we don't take offense because we don't like the way they said it or something. We look at the intention, and the intention of this group, whether you get it or not, is we want you to be happy. We want you to think. We want you to have a better environment, and we want you to be respected and treated well. And if y'all have figured that out, then y'all aren't watching right.
Even
All
when
right,
we
Dr.
learn,
Pierce, tell them how to get you, and then Luann, tell them how to get you. Tell
Well,
them.
you can look at MatthewAPierce.com, or you can also see me at metaphysicalevents.com. And then it's Matthew, both of them. So Matthew at Matthew A. Pierce or Matthew at Metaphysical Events.
Good deal. Luann, my baby girl.
herbal-lou.com. That's HERBALLU. So herbal-lu.com, which is going to be switching and changing. So I don't know where it's going to be after the holidays.
Yep.
And herballu1105@gmail.com.
All right. So I'm Deborah Colleen Rose, private investigator at isgu.com. This show is sponsored by milestosmilesevents.com. We do an interactive, intuitive entertainment. And we have a new podcast that's just come out, and it's my stories. And if you listen to that, I'm no angel, but I've seen the devil, or I met the devil, or something about the devil. You will find out why I'm so warped, because I'm going to start telling my stories. There's a reason I am the way that I am.
You wear your hats too tight.
No, my underwear. That's why that's why I go camo now. I go camo. No, what commando. Not camo.
Amanda.
Commando.
Matthew doesn't want to know that information.
He goes commando too. We talked about it.
I only go commando when I'm in the privacy of my own home, and it's not truly commando, okay?
It's free willy time.
Only on
Deborah,
Saturdays.
don't tell secrets you're not supposed to.
Come on, that was funny. I don't care who you are. That was funny. All right, you guys have a Merry Christmas. We're going to take a break for the rest of the month. And unless I just do something impromptu by myself, and we will see you the first week of January. So until
We're all
then,
here.
and if you drink, get a designated driver or call Uber.
Happy
All
New Year.
right.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Belle. Bye-bye.